So in the last lecture, we're discussing about the three fundamental steps in classical mechanics. One is determine the force in the system. Then from the force, you find the differential equation, solve the differential equation to find the equation of motion. So now we'll solve the equation of motion for this differential equation. And I already told you in the last class what this differential equation and what are we doing. Okay. So how to solve this? So this one can be written as d by dt of dx by dt. Agreed on this part? Okay. Because it will again fetch you d by dt square. So d square x by dt square will be given. And this is equals to g. So once you integrate it, okay, let me do step by step. So put the d here and then write dx divided by dt, okay, equals to g dt. Okay, so once you have placed everything well, now what you do is you integrate both sides. So when you just integrate both sides, okay, what do you get? So you'll get, so on this side you'll get dx by dt only, because that integration will cut the d part. Okay, and then of course the g is constant, it will come outside of the integration, and there will be an integration dt, so that is t plus some constant c. Okay, so later on I'll tell you what this constant is, or we can do it now. Let's do it now. If you look at this part of the differential equation carefully, then you see dx by dt is nothing but a velocity, and acceleration multiplied with time is also nothing but a velocity. Of course, then c must be what? C must be some velocity, that is your initial velocity u. So remember the differential equation, v is equals to u plus at. Okay, you already know what is the meaning of this differential equation. So if a ball is moving with an acceleration a, then after time t, the velocity will be this v, given that you have to add the initial velocity. If initial velocity is given, you have to add, or else take this as 0. Agreed? So what is this constant c? So this constant c is nothing but your u, that is your initial velocity. So instead of writing c, which is an integration constant, we now know that c is what? C is u. So let me write u. Now continuing with our steps. So one more integration. Take put dx here. Okay. So this side you will get a g t and a dt. Agreed? And then you will get what? Here u dt. Again, what you need to do is you need to integrate. So one more integration here, both side. So now let us see what you get. So this side you will finally get your x. Now look, x is a function of time, because the entire right hand side is in terms of time. So let me write this. It doesn't matter, but let me write this. X is a function of time. So what is your first term? Your first term will be half gt square, because you know g is constant, it will come outside, and there will be an integration of only t. So integration of t is t square by 2. Okay. What is the second term? It will be ut. And what is the third? There will be another integration constant, c dash. Now question is, what is this integration constant? Okay, again dimensional analysis. This part x has the dimension of length. Velocity into time will again give you dimension of length. This part is also dimension of length. So of course c must be some length, and it was found that c was the initial position of the particle. C is what? C is the initial position of particle. So we can always imagine that the particle starts from 0. So when we imagine that the object starts from 0, then c dash is what? C dash can be written as 0. So this part can be removed. So what do you get? You get x is equals to ut plus half at square. So what we'll do, we'll do a little bit of shuffle. Take this side and take this part here. So very beautifully we get x is equals to ut plus half at square. This is the famous equation that I just did in the last class. So this equation, so this is what? This is nothing but s equals to ut plus half at square. Agreed? Half. What is the acceleration here? Since the ball is falling down, so acceleration is g t square. So s is equals to ut plus half gt square is a special equation because this equation comes from the basic differential equation of translational motion. Okay, v is equals to u plus gt is not the basic differential, not the basic equation of motion. This equation can be derived from the definition of acceleration itself. So this is not the basic equation of motion. So the basic equation of motion is actually x, I mean the position, is ut plus half gt square. So in classical mechanics, what happens is, so what we have done here, so a ball was falling down and we recognize that the force is mass into acceleration. So what is the force? The force for a falling ball is mass into what is the acceleration? G, because the ball is falling down. Then from this we realize that the differential equation for a falling ball can be written as d square x by dt square. And remember, this differential equation came directly from the force equation. Agreed? Now, once we have that, then we derive the equation of motion. So what is the equation of motion? That is your s equals to ut plus half gt square. And while deriving this equation of motion by using dimensional analysis, we guessed various integration constants, what quantities they will be. So this is how classical mechanics work. You determine the force will give you a differential equation, and then you'll reach an equation of motion. Now what is so special about the equation of motion? You see, the equation of motion exactly tells you how the motion is happening and where the particle is. This is the work of equation of motion. Because, so let me drop the board. Okay, so this this equation of motion exactly tells you where the object is. For example, consider a particle is moving under the influence of force. Okay, so this is a ball and it is moving under the influence of force F. Agreed? Now if m is the mass of the ball, then you can easily predict with what acceleration the ball is going to move. Agreed on this part? So the ball starts moving from here. So this part means your initial position x naught is 0. So the ball starts from origin. Agreed? Now what does this equation of motion says? This equation of motion says that if the ball is moving with an acceleration, this acceleration is provided by this force. Okay, and if the ball already had an initial velocity u. Okay, now how to understand this? So consider a ball was initially moving along the right with a velocity u. Okay, then while it was moving along at this position, when the ball reached this position, somebody just gave it a force F. Somebody just pushed it with a force F, and this force continued till a long distance. So now what happens to the ball from here on? So from here, the ball not only had an initial velocity u with which it was moving, but the ball also had an extra acceleration that is provided by the force. And with u and acceleration a, the ball is continuing the future part of its journey. Agreed? Now, so what does s is equals to ut plus half at square tells you? This equation exactly tells you after a particular time t where the particle is. So maybe the particle is here. If the time is more, maybe the particle is here. So equation of motion always tells you the position of the particle with time. Agreed? So let me give you one more example. So one more example I have already discussed in the oscillation. So I'll give a brief review. If you want, go to the oscillation equation, oscillation chapter. So in oscillation, we know that the governing force is F is equals to minus kx. From this governing force, we detected that the equation of motion for this type of motion is going to be d square y divided by um, so there will be x. Okay, so because the object is one dimension, so we are considering one dimensional oscillation. So d square x divided by dt square plus omega square x. Okay, we all know this. So look at the oscillation. I'm not going to emphasize this. Omega square x. Oh, I wrote k by mistake. Omega square x equals to 0. So this is the differential equation that governs the oscillation. And then we found that the equation of motion for such type of force was x of t is equals to a cos omega t. And the amazing thing about this equation of motion is that if you plot this equation, so consider if a ball is here and you make the ball follow this type of equation of motion, then the ball is not going to go in a straight line. If the ball follows an equation of motion that is of type this, in this case the ball has a straight line motion and it will move in the straight line forever and ever and ever. But if this is the equation of motion, then the motion of the ball is very peculiar, and that motion is, this is the mean position of the ball will go this side first, comes back to its original position, go to the other extreme and comes back, and this motion that is going to and fro continues forever and ever and ever with time. So you see, the force is an important thing here to decide the equation of motion. Agreed? So this is the classical mechanics is all about. You find the responsible force that will give you the responsible differential equation. That differential equation will give you the equation of motion. So you don't have to guess the equation of motion. Once you know the force of the system, you can tell everything about the system. That's why in classical mechanics, force is the most fundamental thing and more emphasis is put on finding what is the force for the system. So in the next lecture, we'll continue more with our classical mechanics lecture series.